honest. The school down the road is always going to be fun. That'll be an exciting time, especially with Chip being down there. So it'll be fun for me. But all these guys it'll bring back some good memories for me personally to play against these other Pac-12 schools. So to single out one in particular is going to be tough, but we're anxious to play them all.
Willie, where's the team as a whole at now, and can you just kind of give a summation of how things have gone since fall and where everything's at?
Things are we're in a much better place now than we were at the end of the fall. In my opinion, we had some things we had to learn about each other a little bit in the fall, which we expected, just changing the way we do things a little bit, and from a mentality standpoint and how we're doing things. And we knew there were going to be a little bit of growing pains with that, and there has been. But I think since we've had the winter break and then guys have come back kind of knowing what to expect, we've seen a big jump in what these guys are expecting on how we play, and we expect good things out of everybody. So since we've come back, again, tonight is our first scrimmage, but we'll get to see some game competition when it comes to that. But I'm expecting a much cleaner brand of baseball than we saw in the fall.
Coach, what do you anticipate the team's identity to be this year, even what you kind of figured out in fall and the early parts of the spring now?
It's going to be one where everyone's going to have to stay ready, and we're going to have to utilize a number of guys, especially on the pitching staff front, just based on coming into this situation with the injuries we had last year, and certainly getting a little bit depleted with the draft. Everyone's going to have to be ready to go and step up and be ready to contribute on a daily basis. From an offensive standpoint, we have some young guys that have come in and are breathing down some of the older guys' necks as far as playing time. So there's guys that are certainly capable of playing at a variety of positions, which is good from a flexibility standpoint, but also a competition standpoint within the team is very good, so and healthy. So I think from that standpoint, we're going to have to utilize a lot of guys in a lot of different roles, which keep things exciting.
Coach, what do you think you've learned most about this team up to this point since you've taken over, and also how special and exciting is it for you to come back where it's kind of all started for you, full circle in a sense?
What I've learned about the team is effort is no problem. These guys, they're out every day, they're working, they work extremely hard. That has been a breath of fresh air for me, just to have guys that are not afraid to work, and to me that's a huge plus. They've been adaptive to the coaching change, to our new staff. A lot of these guys have just been very excited to get to the ballpark and get to work, which to me is nice, obviously. For me personally, it's very surreal that I'm back here in this capacity. I love Arizona State. I've always loved this program and what it's done for me, and this is my way of getting the chance to put this uniform on again. Obviously, and from a coach's perspective now, it's a little different, but I just can't say enough how excited I am to have this opportunity.
And a quick follow-up, does it bring back any specific memories from your playing days back here as a Sun Devil when you walk out in this field, or get kind of a sense of where you used to play?
I was a Packard, so that's one difference certainly, but the uniform and what putting on the Sun Devil uniform means, that'll never change. So that's always very special, and it's not a right, it's a privilege to wear an ASU uniform. So I feel very lucky to be able to do this again and lead these guys, and hopefully we can shock the world, do something special.
Willie, for you personally, obviously your first time going through this stage of the year, what have been some highlights and or challenges that you have faced in this being your first season program?
I think a lot of it is off the field stuff, just from a standpoint of learning the landscape of the recruiting world. This is all brand new to me. Every day is a new experience for me, so I haven't ever been through what I'm gonna experience tomorrow. So everything is a first. That being said, it certainly took me a little while to kind of start understanding the landscape of college baseball, being out of it for a while, and there's growing pains that go along with that as well. But as far as the staff, we're kind of coming together and figuring things out on that level from a recruiting standpoint, and the rules that come along with college baseball and the time constraints and stuff like that we're following diligently, that we have time frames to work within, and we have to get a lot of work done within those time frames. So Those are kind of the big adjustments coming from pro ball that we've had to learn, but we're taking them in stride and I think doing just fine at them.
Willie, it looks like the infield could be your strength. Can you talk about how the infield lines up? A lot of veterans coming back in that area.
Yeah, I think I think to put just the emphasis on the infield, I think we have guys capable also in the outfield as well and behind the dish. So I think from a standpoint, we're trying Ethan Long at third. Ethan's done a tremendous job and works extremely hard and understands that he has to get better there, but he's done just fine this fall. Hunter Haas is moving from third to short, and we think he's certainly capable of doing that and has shown very well. Sean McLean is at second and very strong there, and I think has the capability of playing pretty much anywhere on the diamond. So if we had to get flexible, he's one of the guys that could move around. Of course, Connor Davis coming off his knee surgery. Jacob Tobias has done a great job as a freshman coming in. Alex Champagne is certainly capable of jumping out there in the middle. Cam McGee as well. So behind the plate, Nate's done a great job now that he's healthy and doing some things behind the plate. And there's good competition there with Ryan Campos and Balholm and also Will Rogers. So there's guys fighting for playing time. Then you look at the outfield, certainly there's some talent out there as well. Lampy kind of is manning it in center field for the most part. And then there's some competition on the sides. Kai is playing right field, and then left field's pretty wide open, waiting for someone to step up and take that over. So, and again, these guys are flexible. Guys can move around if necessary, which is good.
What about your pitching situation, especially your starters?
That still remains to be defined, I think, and that might just end up being who we are. Is guys that are guys that just get outs, and defining them as a starter, as a relief guy. We kind of have an idea what we want to do, but it still needs to shake out a little bit here in the spring in our scrimmages to see which way we really want to go with that. But I think at the end of the day, everyone's going to have to contribute one way, shape, or form, whether or not they're a starter or we go with a quote-unquote starter for 2 innings and then bring in another guy. We might have to mix and match and get creative with things based on the situation that we have.
So how do you feel about that, just given the critical nature of starting pitching?
I feel fine about it. I think we have guys that are capable. I trust our guys. They're going to be just fine in whatever role we decide to put them in. Everyone understands that we are that type of team where to define someone might limit somebody. So at the end of the day, we're going to go out and be ready for anything and everything, and guys know that they're going to be expected to contribute on a daily basis, whether or not they may start one game for 2 innings and may be available a day later, as coming out of the bullpen. So that's just going to be the type of team we are. Certainly I would love to have a stud Friday, Saturday, and Sunday guy, but right now we're waiting to see what that entails. We're not quite sure we're there yet, but I look at it as a good thing. Everybody's going to be in the mix.
Coach, on the note of starting pitching, can you update us on the timeline of Boyd Vanderkoy?
We are very hopeful that Boyd will be ready by opening night to at least make an appearance. If he's not, we're hoping shortly thereafter. Obviously, he's coming off a major surgery, so we'll be very, very cautious of easing him into things and making sure he's more than ready to jump out there, and certainly limiting his pitch count as he continues to build up arm strength and get back to full strength.
You mentioned a little bit earlier just your thoughts on the schedule, but just what are your thoughts as well, just playing tough Pac-12 teams on the road like a Stanford, Arizona, Oregon State for the season?
Well, one thing I know about our conference, there's no easy games, and I don't expect it to be any different this year. So we've kind of always been one of those teams that people get up to play against. I don't expect this to be any different. No one's going to feel sorry for us. We're going to have to go out and earn every win we get. But for us right now, honestly, it starts with Dixie State. So they're no pushover. They're going to come in, I'm sure, play their best baseball against us. So we're going to have to be ready for those guys. And we have some other very tough non-conference games as well that we're expected to play well against. Oklahoma State is coming in here ranked in the top 10. Irvine is ranked in the top 15, I think. San Diego State's going to be tough. So we have BYU's got some very good arms that are going to come in here. So we don't have an easy schedule. It's going to be tough, and we know that.
Hey Willie, with the MLB lockout continuing to be an issue, and that most likely affecting the cactus team. How do you feel about a potential increased community presence out here in the Union?
I welcome it. It's awesome to me. I've always loved the college game. You know, and for us, we'll welcome everybody that wants to come out and watch a good brand of baseball and an intense brand of baseball. So, you know, one major difference to us and professionally is we got 56 games, you know, versus 140 or 162 in the major league. So, you know, from that standpoint, every single game matters. That we're going to have to try to win every single one of them, and hopefully the level of play will reflect that and the fact of how our guys go about it. So, yeah, come on out. We welcome everybody to come out and watch us.
Coach, after the season Ethan had last year, he's certainly going to be a focal point for opposing pitching staff. Have you been impressed by the way he's prepped for this season? How do you think he's going to handle that?
Ethan's work ethic is phenomenal. So he's come out and done everything we've asked him to do. The biggest thing about him is Ethan's such a competitor. We're trying to just get him to he doesn't have to match last season. He just has to go out and be the best player he can every day, and the results will take care of himself with him. My main concern with him is he's going to try to do too much. He understands that he's got a target on him, but hey, he's got a target on him for a reason. That's because he had a good year last year, and he's a good player. So I'm not worried about Ethan. He's going to have a great year.
Willie, what's it like having a couple guys heavy hitters in the lineup, in the offensive lineup?
You know, we have guys that are capable up and down the lineup to do a lot of good things. Again, that offers us as a coaching staff flexibility to do different things and be creative throughout the game. But I think it's certainly nice having a couple of power bats in the lineup, and some guys that are able to hit the ball in the gaps, and guys that can run, steal some bases. So, you know, it should be, on paper anyway, it should be a fun lineup to watch offensively.
With Connor, you kind of brought up his name, but with him being a veteran presence, how has that impacted off the field, especially kind of with him having last season to be in the dugout? Does that impact team morale at all?
He's been phenomenal when it comes to being kind of the unsung leader of our team, and on and off the field. Guys listen to him, and they better. He's a couple years older than everybody, and guys of course like to have fun with that a little bit, but him being the grandfather in there and whatever, but you know, no matter what level of baseball you're at, you're always going to have fun with each other. But he is without a doubt our leader, in the clubhouse, off the field. You know, he handles a lot of the minutia stuff that helps me out as well. So, and he's been phenomenal, but his presence in the lineup is going to be huge. Just from a stability standpoint on hey, we can count on this guy to be a good solid at bat every time he goes up, and then just from a leadership standpoint, he'll be great for guys on the field and off.
Coach, some of your most productive players are underclassmen. What are some of the challenges a young clubhouse faces?
Well, I think in college baseball, you're always going to have turnover and young guys coming in. You know, from that standpoint, understanding that it's such a big jump from high school to the Division I level, specifically the Pac-12 level. You know, it's a big jump, and for these guys to get over the shock and try to adjust as quickly as they can, and you know, things that might have worked at the high school level don't work here. So you're going to have to make adjustments. This might be the first time in these guys' lives they've ever had to make an adjustment, and so from that standpoint, it's not the end of the world. You know, you're going to get your teeth kicked in once in a while, and you got to get back up, dust yourself off, make an adjustment, and still compete. So from that standpoint, it's just a matter of continuing to preach mentality with them that things are going to be all right. Keep grinding, keep going forward, and you know, our young guys have done very well at making those adjustments so far.
Kind of along those lines of adjusting, how do you feel like guys have responded to Travis Buck now being in the position that he is?
I mean, I think it goes without saying Travis is well received around here, you know, from a fan base, but also, you know, in the locker room. You know, everybody knows Travis Buck's name and what he brought to the table, what kind of player he was, and his track record in pro ball as well. So he's been great with these guys. I think it goes without saying everyone is happy that he's on staff officially, and the guys respond very well to him. So it's been great.
With the inner squad coming up this afternoon, what's something you're looking for in your team this afternoon during that inner squad?
For me, the biggest thing is our pitchers to throw strikes, attack the zone, and work with tempo. Something we talked about this fall on, the time in between pitches, not necessarily because of the pitch clock, but more importantly to keep your defense on their toes and into every game. And I just think it's important to work with good tempo and attack the zone with conviction. So for me, that's the biggest thing. Hit it from an offensive standpoint, swinging strikes, is our big thing. Be ready for the fastball, swinging strikes. So if those two things are accomplished and we play a relatively clean game as far as a defensive standpoint, I'll be happy.
Coach, a lot of your staff doesn't have much coaching experience prior to their current roles. How have you seen them grow in the months that they've been here?
Well, I think we do have a lot of coaching experience. I, at the top, don't have any. So that's why I've hired the guys around me that do. Mike Goff has 40 years in the professional game. A lot of that as a manager, as a player developer, and a coach. I personally have gone through that with him, so understand what a tremendous teacher he is. So that was a big reason why I hired him. Sam certainly has a lot of experience at the college level, which again is huge for me because quite frankly I don't have any experience at the college level as a coach. So those two guys have been extremely helpful. Travis helped get Boise State off and running before COVID shut their program down, so he has some experience doing that as well. I love our staff. Our guys are very good in helping me kind of get my feet under me and understand what I'm going to have to expect here as the head coach. So, I'm happy with the guys I've surrounded myself with.
Willie, what have been Sam's major points with his pitching staff? So are they pretty similar to what you just echoed about attacking the zone?
Yeah, I think Sammy and I see eye to eye very well on don't beat yourself. Let your defense work. We aren't going to have guys that come out throwing 98 miles an hour with electric stuff. We're going to have guys that are going to have to compete and attack the strike zone. So don't beat yourself, right? So we can't walk guys, we can't hit guys. That's what we're preaching to our pitching staff is go out and again work with tempo, work with conviction, and let your defense work for you. He's been great with that, and that didn't start off very well. We had to make that adjustment this fall. Guys have taken to it, and we understand that at the end of the day, if you can't throw strikes here, you're not going to be here. So we need guys that can attack the strike zone and work with good tempo.
What have those conversations been like with the relatively young catching core about throwing strikes?
Again, more importantly, they're from our catchers. Nate has a little bit of experience with coming in last year and doing some catching. Bronson Balholm has come in. He's an older guy that has experience, not quite at this level, but he does have experience behind the plate. Just really understanding there's more to catching than just catching a baseball. They gotta motivate the guy on the mound. They have to make him feel comfortable, and keep his tempo going and be communicating with us as a staff on, how they're feeling that day, or what does their stuff look like that day. Coach, you ain't got it today. Like, we got to get somebody else in there, that type of stuff. But a lot of that has come with them just establishing the relationship with our pitchers, catching their flat grounds, doing all that stuff, being involved with them on a daily basis. So they've again made big strides since this fall and expect them to continue to improve.
Coach, you mentioned there was a day-to-day process in the fall about learning more about players, the team, what makes them tick, and now that we're in the spring, how comfortable do you feel about the culture that you've set with this ball club and just for the program overall as you move forward?
It's a daily thing, but I'm much happier where we are at now than we were when I first came here. And again, part of that was the feeling out process. Who's this new guy? What's he like? What's the coaching staff like? Them getting to know our personality, and more importantly, what's expected. Wearing an ASU uniform, you're expected to compete for a national title. And if you really grasp that and understand that, our fan base and our tradition here is one that is not used to failing, we expect to win and we expect to do things right. So if you're not going to do things right, we're going to let you know about it. And it doesn't mean we don't have fun. We have a blast around here, but when it's time to work, we get after it and do things the right way, or at least try to. and if they don't, we're going to let them know. You got to clean it up. So just kind of the accountability factor and that type of stuff, and creating this this culture and expectation of doing things the right way and playing winning baseball. Hopefully that translates out on the field during the season.
A lot of recent teams here have been defined by power, and you've obviously got some returning power. Do you think the long ball is going to be a big identity of this team, or are you going to do some more manufacturing?
You know, I think in a perfect world you have a good balance of both. I think we certainly have guys that are capable of hitting the ball out of the ballpark, but we do have some speed at the top and the bottom as well, where we can make some things happen. So, you know, I'm perfectly honest, I'm kind of curious to see myself. We have guys that are capable of doing different things, and it could change given on any given day with what kind of lineup we run out there. But overall, yeah, I'd be thrilled if we had some guys that put the ball in the seats in the outfield. That would be nice.
You kind of mentioned the experience of the backstops in the fall and how that was a position you guys were going to address, and you've kind of touched on it here today. But specifically with Nate Baez's case, he ramped up at the end of last year, was really good. And I mean, I think a lot of people would say that he's in line as one of the top tier guys behind the plate. What has his growth been like, and how is the communication between him and the pitching staff been, and how have you seen him improve?
Nate is, from a physically standpoint, has improved a great deal. I think in the last couple months, he did end the fall a little bit with a banged up knee a little bit. Was a little sore, but we just kind of kept him off that. This winter he worked on his own quite a bit and made some big improvements and big strides, and has come back this spring and looked very good behind the plate, where it's noticeably different from the videos I've seen of him last year. Has really done a good job, but I think more importantly with him is just kind of vocally and understanding that he has to lead our pitchers, and understand that communication with him and our pitching staff is very important. He's really taken that to heart and has done a good job on communicating with them and us as a coaching staff about our pitchers on a daily basis, which is, you know, what being a leader and a catcher is all about.
How has this view change affected you personally, and then what have you realized about this that maybe things you didn't realize about head coaching?
I'm a father of 4 daughters, so my free time is gone. Let's start with that. So, you know, and part of that, you know, we understood as a family that this job was going to entail a lot of hours. Did I expect it to be this many hours? No, I didn't. I mean, I knew it was going to be a lot, but this is a lot, and I love every minute of it. I do miss out on some of the stuff that I wasn't missing out on it when it comes to my family stuff, with taking my daughter to volleyball and watching my daughter at Palm, my other daughter, and taking my little ones to their stuff. So that stuff, obviously, I knew it was going to be that way, but that's been an adjustment for me personally. My wife is back to being a single mom basically now, with me taking this job, which she's been a rock star doing that. But you know, how we function as a family has been great. We understand that this is you know, a tremendous opportunity to get back involved with our university and specifically this program. We're excited about it. We know how much work it's going to be, but it's not work if you're enjoying what you're doing. So we all love what we're doing right now.
Thanks, Billy.
Thanks.